Hello and welcome back to the channel, everybody. I'm KawzNova, but everybody calls me Nova. I'm a Forza Horizon 4 streamer, and today I'm going to be giving you 5 drift tips that will improve your drifting if used properly. These are 5 tips that I use myself, so without further ado, let's jump right into it, starting with tip number 1, throttle control. Alright, so tip number 1, we're going to talk about throttle control, which is very important to drifting and can make or break your drifts. It's going to be the difference between you spinning out at the apex or holding a solid drift all the way through the apex of the turn. And one quick technique that I like to use a lot in the beginning when I started drifting, and you can use this to practice on controller with the triggers or on wheel with the pedals. Basically, we're going to sit in neutral and we're going to play with our throttle. We're going to watch our RPM gauge, right? So when you're drifting, you're going to want to drift at high RPM. So we're going to play around from 5,000 RPMs up to 8,000, right where we're rev banging. Basically, a little technique or practice run, try and control that throttle. So we're going to sit at 5, try and control 5,000 RPMs. We're going to move up to 6, keep it there, control it, get up to 7, keep it there, control it, drop back down to 6, drop back down to 5. And these are great techniques to work on for your throttle control so you can get really good at the small adjustments, whether it be on the trigger or on your pedal. Alright, so moving on to tip number 2, we're going to talk about revving high, which is also a very essential part of drifting. And revving high allows you to keep those wheels under your car slipping on the pavement. Once those wheels stop slipping and your revs come down and they start to gain traction, this is where your drift ends. So it's very important to keep those RPMs up high, to keep those wheels slipping on the pavement, and to continue your drift. And I'm going to show you two examples of this actually, both in first gear. We're going to hit this turn, and we're going to try to drift it under 5,000 RPMs with low revving. Then we're going to try and do it above 5,000 RPMs with high revving, and you'll see the difference. So check it out. Okay, so moving on to tip number 3, we're going to talk about weight shifting. And essentially what weight shifting is using the weight of your car and the speed of your car, which will equal its momentum, using your momentum to drift around a corner or initiate a drift instead of using a clutch kick and or an e-brake. And you'll still see me use e-brakes to initiate a drift at higher speeds. Momentum drifting works a lot better when you're starting the turn at a lower speed than when you're going to exit. But essentially the way this works is to come at a turn and to pull the opposite way of the turn and to swing back into the inside of the turn, causing your rear end to swing around and initiate the drift. And I'll show you guys exactly what I'm talking about right here. Alright, so that brings us to tip number 4. We're going to talk about the e-brake drift extension. Not to be confused with an e-brake drift initiation, which you do see me do a lot live on stream. It works a lot better in the higher horsepower and the higher speeds. But an e-brake drift extension essentially is used to help you get through straights or to extend a drift. So imagine you're coming through a turn into a long straight into another turn. If you wanted to drift that whole straight, but you're losing traction, you're gaining traction, you're starting to straighten out, you can use that e-brake to extend the drift and keep the car sliding by locking the tires and forcing the momentum in one direction. I'm going to show you a quick example of how I could have taken the turn on the inside right at the curve, but I pulled that e-brake extension to slide wider out into the turn. And it's a great example and a great technique used for power alleys and extending drifts. We use that e-brake drift extension to get us out just a little bit wider, and you can definitely use that at higher speeds to really extend a lot of straight points that you're trying to drift through. Alright, so bringing us to our 5th and final drift tip of the video, I want to talk about something very important. You should start with a solid drift tune on the vehicle. I understand that some of you may not know how to tune or drift tune vehicles yet, but I'll place a link to my video where I've already explained how to tune drift videos right up above us, and I actually used this car for that video. But having a good drift tune on your car is going to be the difference between the car working for you and the car working against you. It's going to be a lot harder, and your progression is going to be a lot slower working in a car that's not built to drift. So that is my 5th and final tip on this video. Alright, so that is going to bring us to the end of our 5 essential drift tip video. I'm KawzNova, everybody calls me Nova, but I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you enjoyed the video and it helped you or you have questions, please drop a comment down in the comment box below. Hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Maybe drop a sub if you want to see more content from me. After all, I am a Forza streamer and I am live all the time on Twitch and YouTube. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this video, and I'll see you next time. I'm KawzNova. Peace.